How's it going, everybody? This is Dave Meltzer here on Labor Day weekend with Wrestling Observer Live. Of course, we have Bryan Alvarez here. And in our second hour, we will have BAS RUTTEN, who's a man of so many different talents that I'm going to have to sit down and list them all between fighter, actor, author, television announcer, and and we'll talk about the mixed martial arts scene as Pancras today actually had its 10th anniversary show in Tokyo, and he was on that very first show. And, of course, we'll be talking a lot about the upcoming Pride show and his predictions. The Pride show from a couple of weeks ago. There's no shortage of topics for BAS RUTTEN. You can call up for him in the second hour. First hour, of course, we will be talking about American and Japanese pro wrestling. You can call us at 1-800-878-PLAY, although all lines are busy. Bryan, how's your week?
It's been pretty good so far.
That's good. I want to make mention, I guess the first one we should talk about was SummerSlam last Sunday, which, from a wrestling standpoint, I thought it was a pretty good show, and from a finishes standpoint, I thought that they didn't think very well.
No. There was some of the worst, and this is really saying something the last year, some of the worst booking I can even recall on this show. Most notably the main event, which I really thought that they were on their way to really doing something that would maybe help turn things around, or at least turn things around from whatever point they're at right now. But they ruined it. Just ruined it. Beat Goldberg again.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and I thought that, the Raw show on Monday I just thought was, as bad as Raw has been lately, I thought that the Monday show was really a new low with Kane taking the bump into fire and then, working the house shows like he's fine this weekend. And it's like, what do they want? I don't know what they want pro wrestling to be, but whatever it is, it's like, if people can't care about it, it's like, there's no, where's the emotion in there? That's like half the battle right there. Actually, it's 90% of the battle.
It's kind of funny that you use the word care, because I totally did not even care about the end of Raw. I had no care whatsoever. I wasn't angry. I
wasn't angry. I just thought, great, more garbage.
Yeah, I think I had been prepared. They had prepared me so well with, the necrophilia and all that other stupid stuff they did. This was just I saw it and I was like, oh, that was stupid. I'm going to go watch something else.
Okay.
And it was over. I didn't even care.
Yeah. As bad as Raw was, SmackDown was not that bad, although I know that you did not like one aspect of SmackDown to a tremendous degree.
I hated the Eddie Guerrero thing. Actually, I loved the Eddie Guerrero thing until the end.
Yeah.
Because I saw it the exact same way I saw the Goldberg thing. From the moment that he came out, he came through the crowd. How many times we talked about the Hispanic demographic with SmackDown, and I saw him coming down there, and everybody was going insane, and I thought, if there's one guy on this roster that maybe they could really do something with, it's Eddie Guerrero right now. And I thought they were on the right path, and I was so happy, and then they beat him and left him in a pool of blood.
They didn't beat him, but they beat him up.
Well, they didn't beat him, but he also couldn't beat John Cena. They had to do the stupid DQ with the low blow, which everybody hated.
Oh, I thought that the low blow aspect of that DQ was stupid, but if they had done the tire thing for the DQ and then Eddie came back and ran him off, I would have thought that would have been fine.
But they didn't.
No, they didn't.
They destroyed him.
Yeah.
It's not even
destroyed is too strong of a word, because Eddie's got a lot of I think he's got a lot to him in that he's not like a Bill Goldberg where it's kind of like a myth that you have to carefully cultivate. Like with a guy like Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit, there's a lot more room for stupidity because they're so good that they can survive a lot of stupidity.
Yeah.
Without being destroyed. Now, did it help him? No.
No.
Now, that
was a day that it would have helped him the most.
Well, it was the right time. When I was watching that, the thing that came to my mind was sometimes in wrestling, as bad as the creative can often be, things just happen, and sometimes
you just got to go with it.
Well, no, sometimes you really work hard, and by working hard, you get to a situation, and it works. And then sometimes, like Bill Goldberg was the perfect example in WCW, and I think this Eddie Guerrero thing, because this is not anything that they did. And even to an extent, I'd have to say Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. The Rock they sort of cultivated. Stone Cold kind of caught, kind of hit them, and they just kind of went with it. But things happen. Somebody gets over, just the right personality at the right time, and all you got to do is not screw it up. and 3 years ago in WWE and 5 years ago in WWE, had these situations popped up, I'm not saying that they'd have been brilliant or anything like that, but they would have not screwed it up. And now, when these situations come up, in the last couple of years, we've seen one after the other, actually. In every case, they actually screw it up.
Yeah.
So anyway, Wednesday was NWA TNA, and it was the third straight good show in a row. And from what I hear, this coming week will be number 4 because it's already been taped. I heard the War Games is not that good, but the X Division tournament, 8-Man X Cup, I heard is pretty darn good television, and that everybody should enjoy it, and enjoy it enough to overcome that the War Games was kind of disappointing. So that's kind of like the scouting report that I got on Wednesday's NWA TNA show.
That's good. They had a hell of a main event this week.
Raven AJ Styles, that was an excellent match. I didn't really love that finish either, but it was a great match.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like I think sometimes in TNA they kind of dig themselves into a hole because they do all these finishes that aren't a finish, and then when they finally do the finish, it's like, well, I saw everything else and he didn't kick out of that. It's kind of like I don't know.
I think one of the problems with TNA is that they do too many run-ins. So then when they need the run-in to mean something, it's just another run-in.
Yeah.
Because it's like almost every match. But live crowd, very good wrestling up and down the show. Really liked the show on Wednesday.
Kind of like the Ohio Valley crowd, where they're in the same building every week. You get the same rabid fans every week, and they know everybody. They're in everybody, and so much better than some of those Raws where they'll go to town and it's like nobody cares. But
usually in Raw, okay. The people that go to Raw and you see it in SmackDown, they do care, and they don't get it every week. What happens with Raw is they do all that backstage stuff, and that's the key. Because when they were doing all the backstage stuff in Nashville, they would have dead crowds too. The key is if you do too much stuff backstage, you burn out the crowd live, and you have bad crowd reactions. I think it's pretty simple, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we're going to start heading to the phone calls. We're going to start in Savannah, Georgia, with Jonathan. Jonathan, what's going on?
What's going on, guys?
Not too much.
I only have a couple questions. I'll make it short. My first question is, I actually caught Velocity last night, and I was curious as to if the cat has actually been released. Or
I don't know the answer to that. I probably will know in a day or two. But clearly he's not going to be on Velocity anymore because they made that clear in the commentary last night.
Yeah.
That he's
what they say.
They said he's moved on to bigger and better things, which I heard a rumor that he might become a wrestler, which actually is worse things. But but he is off Velocity, and the fact is that what happened was somebody actually watched the show because it isn't like they replaced him with like a new announcer. They had Taz do double duty, so that tells you that somebody just realized, oh my God, this guy's horrible. It only took him how many months, Bryan?
Watch the show, in other words.
Maybe Vince actually watched the show for once.
Wow.
I don't know. He didn't go on the road last Saturday, remember? Think about that.
He was available.
That's right. So maybe there's your answer.
Maybe he'll join up with Teddy Long.
Oh, God.
Well, you got Coachman now. You know what? Maybe that the settlement and the WCW deal.
Oh, scared Vince to death?
Yeah, scared him to death.
Oh, boy.
Makes sense, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, the timing's perfect, isn't it? Anything else, Jonathan?
Oh, yeah. Also, is there a plan for Matt Hardy at all since his match got scrapped on the pay-per-view and he got the forfeit win? Is there do they have any?
Yeah, they're going to go babyface with him. That's the plan.
Is he gonna? Because I'd read somewhere about
and then their plan from
the house shows or whatever, he was teaming with Gallon.
Yeah, but Gallon's out of the picture. They've taken him out. Matt Hardy's the plan is to go babyface with Matt Hardy, and from there is no plan, and he's going to languish, unfortunately, in the same spot that he's been in for the last 100 years.
Okay. Oh, I got one quick question, Dave.
Yes.
I know the Raw side's coming to Savannah actually on Saturday night, and for a house show, and I'll be there. My question is, they keep advertising. I know Christian versus Booker for the 2 out of 3 falls. Since I know Booker's out, do you happen is it still Val Venus?
It's Val Venus. It's been the last couple of nights, so I presume it'll be Val Venus next week too.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Very welcome. Going to San Antonio, Texas, and Ed. Ed, what's going on?
Hey guys. What I want to talk about is the comments that Triple H made toward Kurt Angle on Raw.
Yeah, very insecure man there, Mr. Triple H.
Yeah, the question that I have is, are we looking to something where you think he's going to try and keep the title from not give it up to Goldberg and work it so somehow at WrestleMania, it's title versus title between Raw and SmackDown?
He'll lose it, but it's not like he's going to lose. It's only going to be a short-term loss. He'll get it back. I mean, he's always going to get it back as long as he's married to Stephanie and he can walk.
Yeah, but do you think that maybe for WrestleMania he'd want to put it where it's Raw and SmackDown?
Oh, very possible. Very possible.
Yeah, that's what I think.
The problem if you do the Raw champion versus the SmackDown champion at WrestleMania, though, is that you don't want to do a draw because everyone's going to be mad for a draw in like a key match at WrestleMania. And then, like, whoever side loses, which means Kurt Angle, kind of looks like the paper champion.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what I was thinking when I heard that.
On the brand extension, that it would almost be a waste to throw it away right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And on Pat Gowan, you mentioned that he's off TV for the current time. I guess they don't already have a plan for him to when he comes back. Is he going to come back wanting to go after Lesnar, or are they just going to forget about it? I
think they'll just forget about it because I don't see them. I mean, they might do something where he like helps Undertaker, beat Brock Lesnar or something at some point, but like himself going in there and getting revenge on Lesnar. Yeah, I think there's a major credibility problem there. I don't see them doing that.
Okay, and I know you're going to have BAS on later on the show, and what I would like to see if you have a chance to talk to him about is if he's ever been interested in going to WWE and maybe getting maybe a bigger paycheck than he already does, or if he just. Oh, I
mean, he's already wrestled for New Japan many times, but I think WWE has no clue who he is.
Because I think he'd be a good announcer,
Oh, you're talking about an announcer? Oh, that's even something different. I thought you meant wrestler.
I meant announcer, yeah.
It's funny you should mention that because Steven Quadros has actually applied to WWE. And the fact that he hasn't gotten hired says something.
Yeah, that's true.
There's something about the mentality of the people who run the TV side of WWE, and I just don't see BAS as a good fit. But I'm not that he couldn't do the job, but I just see them looking at a guy who's been successful elsewhere and go, and I don't know if it's intimidated. What do you think the word is? But you think the same way I do, Brian, or do you not?
Intimidated?
Well, I think that if someone was unsuccessful, they have a better chance of getting the job than successful.
I don't know why that is, though.
I don't have an answer as to why it is, but I believe it's the case.
Yeah.
If you look at people who have, been good wrestling announcers.
What I think it is they say that they want a certain amount of experience at certain things, but they want to experience the things that they don't need someone with that experience in. Does that make any sense?
I think that they want someone that they can mold with no preconceived tendencies or anything like that.
Kind of like law school?
I don't know anything about law school. I never went.
Oh,
yeah, but that's a bad idea because then that person has no idea of real, true wrestling booking, and then we get...
Or just a wrestling period.
That's the point. They train them.
They train them to know nothing. You can still get, by the way, the Hall of Fame issue of The Observer if you order today, which is one of the most talked about issues. Actually, it is the most talked about issue every year. And this year was no different. That's for darn sure. And for those who've been listening to the show that have not gotten it, there's a huge profile in the Hall of Fame issue on Shawn Michaels and Chris Benoit, which means they both got in, and they were the only two modern wrestlers to get in. So if you're wondering about how that balloting came, but there's all the balloting is in there, including breakdown by, who voted for whom and things like that. It's quite fascinating. And the Shawn Michaels story is quite the story. When I was writing it, it was more interesting than I even expected, and believe me, I expected it to be interesting going in. So, and Figure 4 this week, which I just read yesterday, was simple, entertaining in that I'm reading this and it just is driving home everything that you already know, but in a very entertaining manner, and it just makes me just that much more frustrated how you can't just sit there and read it and just realize certain things about this business, but sometimes people are just going to take a lot longer to learn.
How ironic was it that after we were talking about being hired at WWE, they had the Focus Factor commercial come on? How a healthy brain is important and all that. Do not take Focus Factor if you want a job in WWE.
I guess not. Any comments as far as Hall of Fame goes? Since we haven't been on since the thing came out.
You know that Shawn Michaels' bio was so good, and I'm the biggest Shawn Michaels fan in the world, but I was reading it and I was like, how about that? It's like I knew everything, but when I was really reading it, it really hit me what a career he had.
Both good and bad.
It was a good thing that he was so damn good.
Oh, yeah. Because if he wasn't that good, he'd be,
He would not be in.
He'd have been beaten up.
Well, that too. That did happen, so.
Well, eventually, yeah, but it took a long time. But what's funny, because when I was writing it, and I was writing about the Bret Hart story when him and Bret Hart had the fight in 1997, and I had not even thought about this, but in 1995 and 1996, there were several different wrestlers who, late night, while stoned and even sober, from WWE would call me up and just want to beat up Shawn Michaels for a variety of reasons, and some of them very good. And the whole thing was, in 95, the whole thing was, if we do, Kevin Nash will just, kill us. So it's like a thought you have and then you forget it because reprisals are too hard. And then after Kevin Nash was gone, it was like, you know what? We can do it, and, no one's going to beat us up for it, but we're going to lose our job, and is it actually worth getting fired over? And that was the thing that saved Shawn Michaels, was the fear of a lot of guys being fired for beating him up, seriously. And Bret Hart didn't have that fear and beat him up.
Yes, or did the Marines. I want to know what it was in 95 that people wanted to beat him up for.
Just the way that they were burying people, burying people and keeping them from getting anywhere, and just.
So they all wanted to beat up the smallest guy.
He was the cockiest and the biggest.
Well, I guess X-Pac would have been even smaller, but.
Yeah, but X-Pac didn't have the power to manipulate like Shawn did,
yeah.
and also X-Pac was kind of a well-liked guy, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And he didn't flaunt it, and even though Nash flaunted it, nobody really thought about beating him up, so
yeah.
He was kind of safe. Let's see, we will go to, anything else you want to comment as far as other people, Ultimo Dragon not getting in, or Undertaker, or...
Well, I think we pretty much went all over all of those, but it did, especially how close Dragon was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He ain't getting in. It's over.
You know what, though?
Unless he has,
No, I won't say it's over, and I'll tell you why, because there's two things. Number one, I think that his tenure with WWE is not going to be very long, and it will be forgotten within a year, in about a year, and it'll also not be held that much against him because people will just realize, hey, they had Ultimo Dragon, he came in, he looked all right, and then Vince buried him anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think that, if he came in and just stunk out the joint, it would have killed him, but since I don't think he's going to stink out the joint, because he won't even have a chance to, even if he would, I don't think it's going to hurt him that much. And number two, as the years go on, if his promotion keeps going, it's, just the fact that he started a new promotion and it was such an awesome promotion that, that's going to work in his favor.
Yeah, I don't even think he would have to necessarily have bad matches, though. I think if he came in and he was promoted as a mid-card guy...
Oh, it hurt him.
It would hurt him.
But I don't even think he's going to do that. I think that he's going to just be gone with.
Well, if he doesn't come back, that's the best thing that could have ever happened to him. He got his match at Madison Square Garden, and that's that. Yeah, that's right. And that's all he really should have ever wanted anyway from that company, because anything else was dreaming. I don't think he knew what he was in for. Can you imagine? Think about this. Can you imagine you're a guy who, among the wrestlers, is generally acknowledged as, one of the 5 to 10 best workers in the entire world. I mean, if you ever talk to wrestlers, Ultimo Dragon's very, very well respected. And you go in there, and Vince McMahon says, looks at you and goes, he can't work. I mean, yeah, it's just hilarious. I know. There's something. Oh, Triple H. Speaking of next year. Oh, what do I think right now? I just think it's going to be a lot of fun next year. Oh, it will be a lot of fun next year. Yeah. I thought you meant would I vote for him? Would you? That's a damn good question. I'm not going to answer right now. I don't want to get in this fight until next year. I've decided, I pretty much know that my cutoff is always the Dick Murdoch argument. If you're better than Dick Murdoch, then you're going to make my list that you're not cut from. So he's in that list as far as, what the word is, of the people that I will consider for next year. Now, there were a lot more than 10 on the list this year, and there will be a lot more than 10 on the list next year. And where he's going to stand, if he's going to make the list or not, I have no idea because it depends on, I kind of know who's going to be on the list, but you don't know where they're going to stand in a year from now, especially for, him and some other guys that are still active. So it will be interesting. But the thing about Hunter is, I've read some of the arguments about what he's really accomplished in his career previously. Now, at this point, he's a very negative person in the wrestling world. He's hurting business.
But then again, so was Sean, but he was just so good that you can't keep him out.
Well, yeah, but my question is this. How much does that really count?
It should count. It absolutely should count.
Well, okay.
I think it counted with Sean, too. It took him how many years to get in?
Yeah, but think about this. Vince is already in.
Yes.
Okay, what if Vince is ultimately responsible for destroying pro wrestling on Earth?
Yeah, but he's already in. It's not like Pena.
So he cannot be rescinded?
No. When you're in, you're in. I mean, once you've done enough to be in, you're in. I mean, The question could be, well, if we would have voted in 2001, maybe Hunter would be in, but if we vote in 2004, he's doomed. He shouldn't have been in by 2001. It was too early in his career.
Even if he had done so much?
Well, he hadn't done that much. I mean, he's been a main eventer for many, many years during the biggest period in the history of the business, and now he still is. Yeah. And it's
in the lowest period of.
And it's partially his fault. And so it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
And he was a great worker for a while there. And you know what? He doesn't stink now, but he's not.
Hey, he's not what he was, but it's not like he's horrible.
No. And there are guys in there that, believe me, there's a lot of guys in there that I've seen, and they were horrible. You know, look at Hogan. I mean, realistically, Hogan was terrible. And there are guys worse than Hogan in there. But Hogan just came to my mind because, he's the ultimate example of someone who, really was never a good wrestler by any means. I mean, he was a great drawing card.
Good match or two.
Everyone, Ultimate Warrior had a good match. Everyone has a good match somewhere. Hiroshi Wajima, remember? That guy was horrible. He had a good match. I watched Tom McGee, who's one of the worst wrestlers ever, and I actually did I tell you I got the tape of the Bret Hart Tom McGee match about a month ago?
No.
I got a tape of the match, and I should send you that tape, because I want to tell you something. If you see that tape, even knowing what you know now, when you watch that tape, you will think, oh my God, Tom McGee should be the next world champion. That's how good it was. I mean, there's even like 17 years later, I watch and I go, that guy was incredible. And I know that he was absolutely horrible. And Bret Hart was so good that you don't even see that it was Bret Hart carrying him. He just looked like the other guy was incredible, and Bret just happened to be the guy in the ring with him.
You got to send me that one.
Anyway, we do have one line open. It's 1-800-878-PLAY. We're going to get back to the lines right now with...
We should also have a contest to see if we can think of anyone who's never had a good match.
Okay. You can call up. That's a good one. Someone who's never had a good match. We're going to have to think about that one. Who's the worst?
I even saw Nigel McGuinness, who I once thought was the worst wrestler in the entire world. I saw his match with Chet Jablonski for Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. Shockingly good.
Oh, I heard that was a good match.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. DJ in Boston. DJ, what's going on?
Hey, nothing much, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
I had a comment on SummerSlam you guys hadn't touched on yet. I wanted to get your thoughts on it. I thought the Angle-Lesnar match was tremendous. I enjoyed it probably as much as any WWE match in like a year or so. What do you guys think of it?
I thought it was excellent. I thought that the submission via tap-out should not have happened at this stage of the game. And usually I like those kind of finishes, but I think that since nobody had ever seen Brock Lesnar tap out, it should have been saved for an I Quit match between the two of them, whether it be at WrestleMania, but down deeper into the feud rather than us already having seen it now. I know why they did it, to do the you tapped out thing on Brock, but that's kind of a, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but kind of like a Baby Huey type thing, that the big Baby Huey who's a crybaby. And I don't see that as the character that I would want to market Brock Lesnar as. So
especially after the last 2 weeks where they just built him up as a monster.
Yeah. Now, so I didn't like the finish. I thought the match itself was excellent. I thought the wrestling up and down the show, I liked the Elimination Chamber match. I thought it was a darn good match. I just thought it was a bad finish. And the Guerrero match was a very good match, and that was the right finish there. And but overall wrestling-wise, I enjoyed almost the whole show. And 2 minutes before the end of the show, I would say that it was a huge thumbs up. But when the show was over, I gave it a thumbs up. But you could see the results, as far as poll results and everything, it was pretty mixed.
I'm kind of confused about the whole Brock thing.
In what sense?
He lost clean in July.
He's going to be losing clean a lot now until he wins the title. So that way, you've seen enough people beat him, so all these people would be viable contenders once he wins the title.
Horrible idea with Brock.
What?
That's a horrible idea with Brock.
I actually wrote that.
I did think that Lesnar looked better than I ever saw him look, as far as the facials, the big dumb gorilla type facials.
As a worker, I loved the one-legged F5. You know, when after
I love that.
Yeah, some of the stuff there. Yeah. As you know, for a guy, you know, people forget how long this guy's been wrestling because it's only really been a couple of years, and he's a big guy, and big guys usually learn slower. And it's not because they're slow, they're not smarter. It's just that it's easier for a small guy to do more things. And Brock Lesnar, as far as a worker goes, you know, given his experience and everything, he's phenomenal. And Kurt's one of the best there's ever been.
Yeah, I guess my take on the finish was that I think they needed to do something like that with Angle, because to me they had buried Angle to the point where you couldn't really take him seriously, even though he was champ.
I mean, if Angle would have pinned him, I mean, I would have mildly disagreed with it, but believe me, it would have been mild and I wouldn't have cared. I don't think it should have been a submission. That's just I feel pretty strongly about it shouldn't have been a submission. But as far as Kurt winning, you know, given where they're going and everything like that, I don't think that Kurt winning really was a bad idea. And it's good to establish as Kurt, he got a clean win over Brock, you know, so, you know, as far, instead of in the three-way and everything. But, yeah, that, you know, I can see a pinfall. I just can't see the submission. So,
leading up to that match, I thought Michael Cole was tremendous on the Zach Gallen thing. I know Michael Cole takes a lot of crap from the dirt sheets and stuff, but what did you think about that?
I agree. I thought that whole presentation of the Brock Lesnar Zach Gallen thing was one of the best things they've done all year. It was just so emotional. I thought Zach Gallen was great. Zach's mom was great. Brock was phenomenal. Michael Cole was phenomenal. I thought that was some of the best 15 minutes of TV they've done.
Okay, finally, I guess, Bob Sapp versus Tyson, you think it will ever happen?
You know what? I think it won't. I don't know why. That's just the kind of feeling I've had the last 2 or 3 days, that somehow it's like all this hype and it'll just not happen. But we'll see. I mean, I know, God, they're supposed to have a press conference any day now, and, you know, Sapp, and, you know, they may announce it. I mean, they booked, you know.
Are they both going to be there?
No, Tyson won't be there. But, I mean, you know, they're working on December 31st. So we'll see.
Are you serious that Kane actually worked the house shows this weekend?
Yeah, Kane worked Friday, and he worked last night in Hattiesburg, and without burns or anything. He didn't even, you know, nothing, you know, didn't even make any effort to make, you know, you think that anything happened on Monday. And people were in both Hattiesburg and Memphis, there was a lot of people who made comments, you know, like, why do we watch Raw if none of it matters? Or why do we go to house shows if they forget what they've done on Raw?
Yeah, and you wonder why business is down so much on house shows.
You wonder, yes.
Okay, thanks, guys, for taking my call.
Okay, very welcome. Let's go to Kyle in St. Paul. Kyle, what's going on?
Hey, Dave, so many great things you guys have talked about today, and I already had things I wanted to talk about. There's too much.
Okay.
First off, I want to...
2 hours isn't going to be enough this week, I can tell.
No doubt. The figure 4 this week was laugh out loud funny.
I told him that before the show. I just cracked up at this. There were some lines in there this time that were just really great. The one about you know, on paper this looks good, but in the real world the rest of us live in, oh my God.
Right. Yeah, I was sitting eating dinner last night at a restaurant reading it, and I started laughing out loud. Everybody was looking at me. It was great.
Yeah, I'm going to get divorced because of figure 4 at some point, though. No, nothing's happened. I just think that's the inevitability of it.
That's the future.
That's my prognostication. Some Saturday, everything's going to be going good. Figure 4's in the mail. I mean, figure 4's come, and I just start reading it, and you know, something will happen, and that'll be it.
You'll leave the kid in the car or something, yeah.
Well, I wouldn't do that, but something will happen.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Anyone that votes for Triple H into the Hall of Fame should have their voting privileges revoked.
Hey, there's some good arguments for him.
I said that last year about Shawn Michaels, and I got yelled at.
Yeah. No, you know what? I mean, when I started reading back about Triple H and everything, and there's some pretty good, you know, evidence for it.
There's a couple of great things on Wrestling Classics.
What? Oh, okay. Yeah, there is not one wrestler. There's not one wrestler who is not in the Hall of Fame who is eligible who ever had any kind of a drawing record like Triple H. And that's a pretty powerful argument right there.
Yeah, but most of Triple H's draws were against The Rock and Austin. I mean, he wasn't the one people were.
I remember going to house shows where Rock and Austin weren't there, and Triple H was the main star, and they were sellouts and turnaways in a big building like San Jose. I remember the one time because I was stunned. I remember going there, and we were like a half an hour late for the show because the traffic was so big, and there was no Rock on that show. It was just Triple H and I think Rikishi, believe it or not. I could be wrong. I have to look it back up, but Hunter was a big draw.
I mean, I know it can change
the TV. There was a period where he was really
the
guy.
Hunter and Stephanie, as much as I hate that McMahon-Helmsley period, the ratings were huge. The business was very good. If you look at the biggest pay-per-view draws of all time, I mean, he's in the top 5. I mean, obviously, he's not Rock, he's not Austin, he's not Hulk Hogan, okay? Mm-hmm. But if you look at anyone else, modern era-wise, he stacks up ahead of most and probably with anyone else. There's no.
You really hate that McMahon-Helmsley era?
I hated Hunter and Stephanie. Yes, they just drove me crazy. But I mean, it wasn't like it was a bad period because it was actually a great period for the company and. I mean, Chris Kresge was...
all the Angle stuff they did.
The Angle stuff was great. Yeah, but look how it paid off.
Well, that's something totally different. It was going so well.
Yeah, no,
it isn't because it ended up hurting business at the end because people were like, why do I care? He hurt business and made people turn the show off, and that's what a Hall of Fame person does.
Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan both did that at different times of their career.
Yeah, and I mean, Hogan made too much money. You can't say Hogan shouldn't be in, but I was very borderline on Michaels.
Okay. Oh, a lot of people were.
Yep. I mean, that's
now.
That argument's over.
All right, so let's go on to a different Hall of Fame. What about this MMA Hall of Fame that Jeremy Wallace is putting together?
I just got the email today, and I haven't looked at it closely, but I'm interested that he's looking at 51% instead of 60%.
Yeah.
Which is just interesting because if you look at 51% instead of 60%, a lot more people get in.
Right.
But as far as I think, it's a great idea.
I'm just wondering who a couple of the guys you would think you're going to end up voting for.
I haven't looked at it close enough, but off the top of my head, I would say... I
bet you'll vote for Sakuraba.
He's not eligible. He's not eligible, but obviously I would vote for Sakuraba if it was... I would say, I'm
going with Randy Couture for sure.
If he's on there, then he has to be in. I agree.
He's on there. I got it right here in front of me.
Okay, Randy Couture I would vote for. Boss Rutten, maybe... Don Fry, yes.
Yeah. How about Pat Miletich?
No.
You don't think so? Even with
the training,
out of the military school.
The training is part of it, but I just thought that I don't think that Pat Miletich beat a lot of great guys. He beat he was champion for a long time and he had boring fights and he was never a draw.
Yeah, that's true.
Ken Shamrock, and Hoist Gracie for sure.
Right, Hoist Gracie for sure.
And then as far as if Frank Shamrock's on the list, then him too.
No Frank Shamrock.
Okay, so I haven't looked at the list close. I know.
How about Mark Coleman or Mo Smith?
Mark Coleman, I got to think about. Maurice Smith, no. I mean, he beat Mark Coleman, but aside from that, I can't say. You know what I mean?
I have to look to see if K1 counts, but I mean, I think Mo was Mo.
But he wasn't a big superstar in K1. But he wasn't a big superstar in K1. Mo's big run was when kickboxing was down in the 80s, and he was really good in the 80s, but that's before anyone really followed it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, this Hall of Fame is supposed to be, if I read it right, it's supposed to be post 1993. Right. So whatever Mo did in the 80s doesn't count.
Yep.
And it was kickboxing anyway. It wasn't mixed martial arts.
Right.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yep. On the thing you guys were talking about earlier that the house shows that are going to Raw and SmackDown, how crowds aren't into it, and Dave, you mentioned that people get out of it because there's so much stuff going on in the back, and I totally agree, because you don't pay $40 to go to a show and not want to enjoy it. And it's not like other sports, like, I have wild season tickets, and people are, sitting there because they got them from work, and they just, wanted to go because it was free or could go. I mean, people that pay to go to wrestling shows are loyal fans that want to get into it, and they are taken out of it because the shows suck when they get there.
And it is the backstage, and I'll tell you why, because generally speaking, like SmackDown this week, and most SmackDowns, when they don't do a lot of backstage stuff, they're usually good shows. And I would say I cannot recall the last time I went to a WWE house show that I didn't think it was a good house show, because at the house shows, you don't have... Now, I mean, they insult you in the sense of, guys that are heard on TV will work the house shows and, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, as far as, like, going to the show, having a good time, I mean, it's been years since I've gone to a WWE house show and not had a good time at the show, and because the wrestlers all work hard. I mean, it's a great crew of guys. So, and yet the house show attendance is still dwindling because people are spoiled and think that they need the Titantron and the Pyro. But, and when I go to those house shows, even with small crowds, like the last several have been, the people who are there are into the show.
Right.
Now the only time you see them not into it is these Raw shows and sometimes the SmackDown shows, and more often than not, it's because there's so much backstage.
Yeah, there's so much backstage, and they've been given, they've given a couple really bad matches to start the show off. They're not given anything to draw them in. I mean, they should go just like you do on an indie show and give them a really good match to start off the show. Give them two guys that they're into, maybe a couple of the cruiserweights they know, and then go into the dark match.
No, they don't have cruiserweights on Monday. I heard.
Well, no, not on Monday, but I'm saying, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I know. Start off, and sometimes they do it. Sometimes they open with a hot match.
Right.
And they're
not enough. It's smart business to do that every time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, I thought the opening of the Raw show with Triple H and Goldberg, I thought was excellent, but the fact that they didn't follow up on it for the rest of the show is what really weakened that angle, and then what they did with the rest of the show, of course, was not nearly as good as the first 15 minutes.
Well, there was too much stuff to be able to follow up on it.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going to go back to the phone calls to Prospect, Connecticut, and Jeff. Jeff, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
As far as guys that never had any good matches, there were plenty of guys, American wrestlers, particularly in the WWF.
Nikolai Volkov?
There was guys that had short careers like Ludwig Borga, Giant Gonzalez, and Nails, and there was even...
You know what? Giant Gonzalez once had a good match with Ric Flair.
There was even guys with like longer careers like Yokozuna, Mabel.
Oh, I saw Yokozuna have good matches.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Then even like maybe if you want to stretch it, guys that had really long careers like Ed Leslie or John Tenta.
I've seen John Tenta have good matches. Ed Leslie's a tough one. I don't remember one off the top of...
He had one with, Hennig.
Yeah, you know what? I bet he did with Hennig, because Hennig was really good. And I don't remember one off the top of my head, but my gut tells me he probably did with Hennig, too.
Yeah, it's possible. My first question is, are they serious trying to push Jonathan Coachman as a heel?
Well, they are. I don't know. Well, he got booed when he came out those weeks because people didn't, it wasn't JR, and then...
It's just like X-Pac. People don't want to see him.
Oh, my God.
Wrong kind of heat where they didn't hate him enough to want to pay to see him more.
Yeah.
They didn't even have to listen to him for free.
Yeah, and I just thought that was so embarrassing, the thing on Monday, where it doesn't make any sense. They put him in there with Lawler with Christian. He challenges Coachman to a match, and they put him in there with Christian, and then Coachman interferes. And it's like next week we get the big match, and it's like, oh, like anyone wants to see.
Build up to it.
Like, yeah, I know. Poor Christian. He's like the setup guy for Coachman on every show.
You know the worst part about this Christian thing is, if he had just not been on SummerSlam, I may not have noticed, but they had to hammer into our heads this guy was too big a dork to be on SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Is it true that they're grooming Coachman to take over for JR when JR retires?
They have done that. I don't know where their thoughts are today on it, but that certainly was a mindset before he screwed up this last opportunity. But I mean, as far as there's no movement to move out JR immediately. But I think it's one of those things where they see JR's age, and they're preparing for the future. And I don't know. Hopefully, it's not soon. That's all I can say.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay, we're going to New York City, and Michael. Michael, what's going on?
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Doing really good.
Just want to say, last week's Observer, great issue, Hall of Fame.
Oh, thank you.
Bio on Shawn Michaels was great.
Thanks.
And my question is about RVD. I mean, there's a lot of rumors and speculation that he's just basically waiting out his contract, is going to leave. And from what you can tell, is that true at this point? Or?
But where would he go? If there was an alternative, I would think he would, yeah. But there really isn't an alternative.
So do you think that...
So I don't see him looking to leave. I just see him... I see him kind of as a guy resigned to his fate, and I think that he's accepted it. I think I don't think he's thrilled with it, but I think he's accepted it. It's like, this is just my job, and, that's my job, and I'll go out there and make the best of it, and I'm not going to go and, drive myself crazy like the other guys that I'm not getting a push, and because I don't think he's driving himself crazy over it. I just sense that he, I'm sure he would like it to be different, but he understands what it is.
I agree. And will they attempt to re-sign him, or will he just walk when his deal runs out, I guess, which is next year at some point? Or
there's no way of knowing, but I would think that they would attempt to re-sign him. There have been very few guys that they've cut, and if you look at the guys they've cut over the last couple of years, it's like Godfather and Crash Holly and people like that. They really haven't cut any top tier guys. Although with Rob, I mean, they, what may happen is, and this would not be an on-purpose thing, but the idea when his contract is up, I wouldn't doubt that they would try to cut his downside, and that might get him frustrated. I mean, so those dynamics where he would leave, there's always that possibility, because you never know, what they're going to do with down, because I know they want everyone's downsides lower, and the guys whose, contracts have been up, when they've renegotiated, they haven't renegotiated with lower downsides.
And finally, is there any sort of plan for a push for him right now at this point? Because obviously or Tombstone pile driver on the steps, take him out, and it just seems like they're throwing him to the side. So, I mean, I just had this gut feeling for a reason that they're going to throw him a bone and, make him feud with Christian for the IC title. Is that what they're going to do, or is he just...
They may. Yeah, they may do that, and they may have him win the IC title and act like it's a push, but,
You know what, though? After not even appearing on Raw for 1 minute this past Monday, I kind of don't think he's on his way to that.
Yeah, maybe.
Plus all the interviews he's done lately cannot have helped him.
No, they can't help him, not in that company. Too bad, too, because he hasn't really said anything that, everyone else doesn't say anyway.
Yeah. Because it's sad when the YJ Stinger gets more TV time than one of your foremost stars in the company.
Yeah, that's true. Our guest tonight is BAS RUTTEN, who is a author, announcer, actor, kickboxer, mixed martial artist, and pro wrestler, and probably many other things that I'm leaving out, but those are the ones that I know of. And how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. The most handsome fighter in the world. You left that out.
Okay. BAS, one of the things, today was the 10th anniversary of Pancras, which actually was a pretty significant part of pro wrestling and mixed martial arts, in that it was the first, I would say, monthly show, regular promotion, as opposed to just event. And you were there. You were there from the very beginning. I had actually forgotten that you were on the very first show, and of course everyone remembers you were one of the pioneers of that promotion. And you were there for many, many years. And 10 years later, if you're looking through the evolution of mixed martial arts, what are the things that you see as I guess, the key things that have happened?
Oh, everything, man. I mean, the fighters nowadays are so good, so well versed. They know everything. That's why the weight classes came in, because everybody got so close together. Weight does make a big difference. So, no, it grew so much. It's unbelievable. And actually, talking about Pancras changed my life. The reason that I live in America, all the things that I have right now, I owe kind of to Pancras. So I'm very close to Pancras.
When you first started in 1993, how much ground training? I know you did a lot of kickboxing before Pancras, but did you done any ground training, or did you come in cold, or was that like a learning experience at the beginning?
It was a learning experience. I had maybe 4 classes, and the only thing that I knew was a guillotine choke. And I actually won 4 or 5 fights in Pancras with a guillotine choke, because it was the only thing I knew, and I knew it very well. But they came out. Suzuki and Funaki looking for new fighters, new blood. Chris Tolman from Holland called me and says, "Boss, you got to come over to the gym right now. They're here with the camera. They're looking for new fighters." I came over. I kicked the guy in the hospital for some stitches in his head, and they decided right away they wanted me. And I think 4 weeks later I was fighting in Japan.
Now, mixed martial arts, of course, in Japan, and you've been there, many, many times now. It's gotten so big with the Pride and everything like that, and, with the big Grand Prix coming up November 9th. I mean, what are your thoughts as far as, the last show and, just the atmosphere and just how the last show went, between the making of the possible Mirko Cro Cop match and just the Grand Prix tournament and everything?
Yeah, I think mixed martial arts is growing so hard right now, especially in Japan also, because it used to be only K1, but right now, especially with people like Mirko Cro Cop coming in, who are very talented, who is, because there's only one guy, I guess, for K1, and that's Mirko. And I think, I said it from the beginning, he's going to surprise a lot of people. I think this guy is going to submit people, he's going to do everything. It's growing and growing. I think it can even be bigger. It could get bigger than K1 even.
What's your thoughts as far as the Final Four, the Grand Prix with Jackson, Silva, Yoshida, and Chuck Liddell?
Well, man, I really don't know. Is Yoshida going to fight? We don't know. Then we gotta wait. Who they're gonna size the opponents with? I think, for what I think is going to happen, I don't know if they're going to have a drawback. The most logical thing for me would be that Chuck and Quentin's going to face it out, and then Yoshida and Vanderlei. That's what I think. But maybe they're going to, you don't know. They're going to put four papers together. They're going to mix it up, and they're going to decide then. They draw it. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Would you pick Jackson for the eventual winner?
Yes.
Really?
I think because he grew so much lately, the last 2 years. He's just a phenomenal guy.
What about Krokop versus Fedor if they fought?
I think that Krokop has a big chance. I mean, come on. I think Krokop actually against anybody has a real good chance. And but Fedor, man, he's tough as nails. As tough as they come. So. Yeah, I don't. There's a lot of things happening nowadays, and I don't know about that one. I think if I had to choose a winner, I would pick Krokop.
Okay. What is your thoughts as far as a lot of the media publicity in the last couple of weeks involving, Mike Tyson showing up at the K1 show in Las Vegas, and Mike Tyson perhaps fighting in K1 or under these rules? What do you think is the good and the bad of possible Mike Tyson participation?
I think it's good for Tyson's purse, because from what I understand, he blew all his money, so that is good. But I don't know. I think he behaved himself really well when Bob Sapp started mouthing off to him. He was real relaxed. I don't think, boxing-wise, it would be wise to fight a guy like Mike Tyson. Because if you like him or not, I don't like him anymore since the whole biting incident. So he's not. He used to be a favorite fighter of me, but that I thought that was like the lowest thing that you could do possibly. But still, I think he probably has the strongest punch in the world. I think he can do real good in Thai boxing. The only thing that in K1. They're not gonna box with him. They're gonna throw the front kick, and try to take him out on his legs. The thing is, if you throw a right low kick, it could be countered with a right straight real easy. So, and once Tyson connects, that's the end of the story.
What do you think as far as like boxer versus kickboxer under K1 rules? I mean, does the boxer, and I guess it depends on the boxer, but what kind of chance does a boxer have, and what kind of a chance would a boxer have in a mixed martial arts fight? Let's just say Bob Sapp against Mike Tyson under mixed martial arts rules, if that actually would happen, which, I don't know that it would ever happen, but since everyone's been talking about it, it's kind of something to speculate about.
Yeah, I think Bob Sapp should stick to mixed martial arts. I think that's when he uses all his strength, all the power he has, I think he can, if he really trains hard, because he doesn't have time to train. People don't understand with Bob. He asked me to train him in Japan. I was a week there. I could train him 1.5 times. The rest of the day, he did interviews, appearances. I mean, he was all over the place. He couldn't sleep right. He couldn't eat right. So, but if he would train real hard, I think mixed martial arts rules against Mike Tyson, he will beat Mike Tyson.
Mm. Well, that's an interesting thing you bring up. And, in the movie Smashing Machine, we saw that a lot of times people think of these fighters as, just one-dimensional fighters. They go to the gym, they train. But a lot of these fights, like with Mark Kerr, just as an example, it's determined by outside forces that people never even think of, whether it's, you're breaking up with your girlfriend and you're in a bad mood, and you just don't get to the gym enough and train, or your head's not into the training, and then you go in the fight and you haven't trained hard enough, and all of a sudden you're tired 5 minutes in. You know what I mean? It's not, those are huge factors when the fighters are evenly matched.
Yeah, of course, but I think once a fight like between Bob and Mike Tyson would happen, I think both of them. Bob has a lot to prove after this last fight. I mean, against Chemo, it didn't look really pretty. Let's say that. And Bob is a very talented guy who has no time to train. if he's going to fight Tyson, he's going to train for 2 or 3 months in a row. You will see a totally different person than that you saw in the last K1. But Mike Tyson, the same thing, the same deal counts for him. He's also, going downside. He fights a few fighters, but no names. But for him, the whole world is going to watch too. So he's going to train hard. Could be very interesting. I think on boxing rules, still Mike Tyson would take that fight. He would win that fight. Mixed martial arts, Bob Sapp's going to win.
Bob could train like full time. How good do you think he could get?
You mean Bob Sapp?
Yeah. If he didn't have all of these outside activities and just with his size and strength and really trained like a full-time fighter, like how far could he go?
He could go all the way to the top.
Yeah.
I mean, you teach him something and he catches up right away. The only thing that he doesn't have is time to train. They all have the best interest to train 2 times a day. If they really trust you, if they really think you're the best. Mirko Krokop, he lost that fight, and I told him before the fight, I said, Mirko is training 2 or 3 times a day. You are training 1.5 times a week.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen after round number 1 or 2? If you're going to survive round number 1 or 2. You see, you need to train. So if Bob Sapp is going to train like he did at the beginning with Maurice Smith, he was in pretty good shape when he fought Nogueira. He was in a pretty good shape. So I think he has a great chance in anything if he trains right. And he only focuses on the fight, good food, good training. I think he can do very well in any martial art.
Is there any talk of you fighting again?
No more. No more fighting at all.
What made the decision? Just the age, or?
Well, first of all, yes, I had a few things for that. 1 second, please. And then I did this. I did a movie about 2 months ago, and after 2 days of shooting, they offered me right away 3 more movie deals. So apparently the acting pays off really well now, and they like what they saw, and I got a few more things coming, but I don't want to talk about it right now. But it's going to be really good. So there's no more fighting for me.
Okay. As far as what were your thoughts when they replaced Steven Quadros?
Steven is my buddy. You know me. I mean, I really thought we were always on the top 10 list. We were always there. I think we filled each other up real well. I think, I thought we were a perfect team, but apparently it went different. So for me it was strange. And they just wanted to try something new, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I mean, how was your feeling? It was like, in many ways, I thought that the last show was the biggest show ever. It was the most looked forward to show that I think that Pride has ever done. Not just in Japan, but in the United States as well. And all of a sudden, you're working with a guy who had, never done a show before, and this is like, it's like you start with too many eyes on you. You know what I mean?
I know, and I couldn't understand it either. I don't know, man. I don't know what the deal was. They could have done it a few shows later, but they were thinking about it for a long time, they told me, and they just made the decision.
Yeah. What, as far as like going back to your early career with Pancras, over like the years, like, say 93 to like 97 in Pancras and mixed martial arts, I mean, how would you describe kind of like the learning curve and, where was there a period where you were learning stuff and then all of a sudden the stuff that you learned was obsolete and you had to learn new things, or did it evolve more into, like at the beginning, a lot of the top fighters were your submission guys on the ground, and now, if you're just a pure submission guy without good takedowns and without good kickboxing, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it's like me. I came from the striking background, and within 2 fights and 2 knockouts, of course, later they realized right away that I was a striker, so they gave me Funaki. And he gave me this toe hold, which was a very painful experience for a couple of weeks, actually, because I thought he broke my ankle or something. it still didn't ring any bell for me. It's a striker. It's like I'm one-sided. I had my, I was stupid. But anyway, then I fought my fight against Ken, lost that fight, and then I had the second time in '95. I think it was in January '95. I fought against Ken, and I had this one guy teaching me to stop a knee bar, and he told me that there was only one way to stop a knee bar. If he would have told me just to hold the leg of your opponent, then nothing could have happened to me. But he told me, no, he's going to step over your hip and he's going to roll into a knee bar. So I'm in that situation, and he throws a leg over my head. Instead of stepping over my hip, suddenly Ken throws his leg over my head. And then I thought, you know what, I'm not going to listen to anybody now anymore. I'm trained now, forget about striking 2 times a day. I found myself a real good striking, a real good partner who didn't know anything on the ground too, the same as me. We started watching fights, and then I would see a submission move on TV, and I would bring it to the training, and we would start trying to get it on each other, and then see how we could defend it, and see if we could make it better, and see if we could counterattack it. And that way, and suddenly I started growing, and everybody knew the fight against Ken. That was the last time I lost. After that, I never lost a fight anymore. The thing that I regret the most, because it's in my head right now, because there's a 2 DVD set coming out with all my fights on it. And there's a special option that you can click a button and you hear me doing the color commentating. So it's really funny, but was so easy. People could take me to the ground so easy. I always thought that was my biggest downfall. I had no wrestling coaches. I had no wrestle trainers, nothing in Holland. So the only thing I trained for was or striking or submissions. On the other hand, I thought, if I would have had a real good wrestler coach, maybe my submissions wouldn't have evolved like it did now. So, but still, I wish that I always would have had a guy that would have told me how to stay away from the takedown, how to defend the takedown.
When you take a guy who's really good at one aspect, and we've seen this with a lot of the wrestlers, where they're really great at the wrestling, and it's almost, at some point it becomes a detriment because they think wrestling and they don't think fighting and positioning. And we've seen some great wrestlers that have to learn the hard way. I think everyone does. Whereas some of the fighters now that are coming up, they're coming up. They're not really wrestlers. They're not really kickboxers, but they're learning everything. And it's more of the mixed martial arts fighting is more natural to them. Whereas your tendency would have been, in trouble. You're still thinking, what would I do as a kickboxer maybe for the first couple of years, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was what I was thinking, but. It's like I said, right now, if I could do these fights that I did, when people take me to the ground, when you see my old Pancras fights, when they take me to the ground, they do it with such an ease. I don't even defend it at all. Right now, I'm training because I'm still training. And I train with great guys that come in, and good fighters that come in. And people are now saying, "Boss, man," and also takedowns. I take people down now. And I can defend myself real good from a takedown, but I always thought that was my only flaw. I wish that I would have trained more on the takedown defense or take some people down. And nowadays, everybody knows everything.
Yeah. Who would you say is the best all-around fighter that you've seen or fought?
That's difficult. I think right now Quentin is high on his way. I think Krokop is high on his way. We didn't see any submissions from him, but I'm telling you, I told it a while ago already. This guy's going to be a champion. And watch, he's going to. So he's really good. You have so many people. There are so many ones, but these ones are really outstanding. I like Murilo Bustamante a lot. He's got pretty good hands now, and he's, the fight against Quentin, he did a real good job on a 5-day notice. Carlos Newton is somebody who improves all the time. So, there are a bunch of people.
What are your thoughts as far as Randy Couture and Tito Ortiz, which is the big fight coming up September 26th?
Yeah, Randy is for me, Randy is the. I call him, and I hopefully I was the first one. I call him the Holyfield of the NHB. I mean, he loses a fight, he comes back, and he wins the title again. I mean, this guy, I have so much respect for him. He's an unbelievable fighter. I think if Tito underestimates him a little bit, he could lose this fight. But Tito is the kind of guy who really trains 6-7 hours a day, what they say, which I can never believe, but for some reason they can do it. I guess it's age. I couldn't do it. I used to train 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the afternoon, but I would go berserk 2 times a day for 1 hour only. But he trains, he's a training monster. So if Randy's going to lose this fight, it's going to be on stamina because Tito's going to let him work and work and work. But don't take Randy light because he looked really good in his last fight.
Now, do you think as far as with Tito, there's the one thing that we've never seen Tito in is, and we've seen Randy in it constantly, is in a real tough fight. We've seen Randy, Randy Couture has been in situations with Pedro Hizzo comes to mind and some of the other fights where it looks like he's on the verge of losing, and he still comes back to win. Whereas Tito, the only real time, in the last couple of years we've seen him in serious trouble was with Frank Shamrock, which he lost. I mean, we've never seen him tested and then have to do the gut check. He's physically dominated everybody that he's fought for the last couple of years, whereas Randy's had the wars.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He had higher quality opponents, tougher opponents, and he's got a lot of heart. And I guess this fight we're going to find out in this fight.
Boss, is there any, as far as time of movies coming out or anything that you're working on, like,
Yeah, there's the movie, The Eliminator, is going to come out in 40 days. It's going to be ready. I'm going to have a movie with Christina Applegate in November. So that looks good. And just to plug it, hey guys, go to BASRUTTEN.tv. You will see all the information on that. You can download my music there too. I made a few El Guapo songs. They're going to be really funny. There's really funny posters, T-shirts. I think with the posters I'm going to kind of shock the world a little bit, but you know me. I think it's fun. It's going to be fun.
Now, did you go to Frank Shamrock's first show last week?
Yes, I did. I thought it was a great show.
Really? Okay, yeah, I haven't talked to anyone about that yet. Yeah.
No, so that's good that you asked, because I think did you see what he made, the battlefield, how to say it? It's not a ring, it's like more of a pit, but then padded. The concept is really nice. And there were no problems at all. Everybody thought that everybody was going to fall outside. The fighters were going to fall outside the whole thing. But I think he made a very smart move there. It was good. The show started small, as every show has to be, but I think it has great potential.
Now, as far as I know, one of the things that he'd been talking about was kind of a time clock on the ground if nothing happens. I mean, did they implement that? Like or was it, stand-ups or anything like that, or did just...
No, they did it right away. There's one of my criteria, what I always have. I think if you take somebody down and you do not use that takedown, then they should, this is for me, when I would do an organization, they should use the takedown against you. Because why would you take somebody down if you don't use it? Are you afraid with him to stand up? Yeah, so you take him down. Okay, what do you do now? You try to knock him out? No, you're just laying there. Okay, counter it against him. That's what I would say. So I think that criteria is very good. Stand them up. If they don't fight, stand them off the feet right away.
So they were doing quick stand-ups?
Yeah, pretty much. And they would give the fighters warnings. They would say, okay, fight. And they would go like 3, 2, 1. If the fighter didn't work, bang, back on the feet.
Now, do you know was this like a TV pilot taping, or do you know what this was all for?
I don't know. It was, you know what? The taping looked real good. I was sitting, they had in the center of the ring, they had the 4 big screens, so also the ring is not there. So the ropes are not there, or the cage is not there. You see everything. It's really nice. And if you didn't see something, you just looked up, and then you looked at the big screen, and there you would see from a different camera angle everything. So, it looked like they were doing it for some TV. So I don't know if it's going to TV or video, but everything looks really professional.
Wasn't there a band there too?
No, I don't know about that. What I do know, there was this Chinese people that did a show in the middle, and one of them they did Tai Chi and everything. And I know it because I do some Tai Chi here on Sunday mornings with a group of Japanese people here in the mountains. It's really cool. But there was this one girl, and if you see the tape, you know right away the thing she did. She laid upside down. The thing she did with her feet and the table, she was tossing tables around like pizza dough, man. I mean, I've never seen something like that in my life before. It was, the people were like getting out of control. So that good.
Huh.
Now, are you going, and do you know if the October Pride show is going to be on pay-per-view in the States?
What I do know is that I'm going to be the color commentator. So I guess it's going to be in the States.
Okay.
Because otherwise, why would they use the American broadcast? So yes, I'm going to be there. I don't know when they're going to do it, when they're going to send it on in America, when they're going to broadcast it. But one thing for sure is that I'm going to be there. So probably they're going to do the broadcasting.
What as far as like Hidehiko Yoshida goes, I mean, what's your thoughts as far as like the controversies with him? I mean, do you think it's all overblown, or do you think that there's just people? I don't. You know, what's your take? I mean, you've seen every one of his fights, I think.
Yeah, I think the fight with Hoist was a bullshit call. That's my honest thing. You know, I'm the color commentator. Hoist didn't tap. For me, it looked like he wasn't in any danger at all. They should have let the fight go on. You know, I mean, for a guy like Hoist, it's better that even if the choke was on, they would have at least let the guy tap, you know, or let him pass out and then say, but don't say, you know, oh, because Yoshida looked at the fighter and he said, hey, he's out, and they stopped the fight. Then against Don Fry, I think that the mistake that Don made is clinch up with him. The guy is wearing a gi, for God's sake, you know, I mean, there's a lot of crap. You heard me saying it in the pre-fight analysis when he's wearing a gi, you remember?
Yeah.
But it is, you know, the sweat absorbs, and once somebody got a hole in you and you're wearing a gi, you know, he can throw you pretty easy, and that's where Yoshida was known for. He's an Olympic gold medalist. People don't realize the guy was a world champion judo, which is even more difficult to become than a gold medalist. So I think he's not overrated. I think, though, if he's going to fight a guy like Vanderlei, and Vanderlei is going to stay away from him and just knock him out, then he's going to be in big problems.
Now, the Tamura fight certainly exposed his weakness in stand-up defense.
Yes.
You know, I mean, we really saw, unlike with Don Fry, who never really had a chance to punch him because he was taken down right away and kind of the whole match was on the ground. With Tamura, when the match was standing and before the finish, Tamura was hammering him.
Yeah, big time. That's why I think if you fight Tamura against Vanderlei, you know, Vanderlei is a different breed. This guy's going to smell your blood, and he's going to go for it, man. And but again, the thing that Vanderlei does is all upper body takedowns. And an upper body takedown, that inside trip thing that he does, that all the guys do from the shoot box, he should change it. Because if he's going to do that with Tamura, he could be in he could face a big problem there. Tamura's going to land on top. He's not going to take him down with that. I don't see that. I see Tamura getting on top then.
Now, as far as Silva goes, what makes him click? I mean, as far as he's got this look, and it's incredibly intimidating, which I think makes him a great character anyway.
Yep.
But he delivers the goods every time out too. As far as what's the thing with a lot of those guys from the shoot box? I mean, you've got this club, and it's kind of like this mysterious Brazilian group that comes in, and I mean, they're great strikers, and they've just got the game, and they're brutal fighters.
They're brutal fighters, very aggressive fighters. With aggressiveness comes always what I say one-dimensional also. I think if you would have a fighter who's smart, who would circles around him, would work circles around him, he could be beat. He goes straight forward, straight backwards. He has a lot of aggressive power, and once he's on you. I mean, if you're dazed a little bit, he smells it, and he's going to go for the kill. A thing with Vanderlei is, and that's what I love about Vanderlei, you will never, ever see a boring fight with him.
Yeah.
It's always an exciting match.
Now, do you think, like with Chuck Liddell is almost the perfect opponent to beat him in some ways?
Yes, I think so, too.
Yeah. I mean, just when you look at the style, because, he comes from the side, and he's a patient fighter, and he'll take some punches, but he'll wait for the opening. I mean, like with Overeem, Chuck Chuck looked like he was on the way to go out, and then he just swung and nailed the guy. And the one thing with Vanderlei is that when he's aggressive, he does leave himself open.
Yes, way open, because everybody saw in a lot of matches, he gets blocked, and then you see him wobbling his knees, but then people get overexcited, and then Vanderlei clams on him and takes him down. If you block Vanderlei, trust me, this for every fighter who's ever going to face him, take your time, step back, and relax, move around him, and pick your shots, because once he's got a hold on you, he's going to take you down. The guy is a born fighter. It doesn't say he's got a super lot of technique. It's not a guy who will make a flying triangle choke and things like that, But this guy is just born to fight. This is a guy that he makes money with what he's doing best. Let's face it.
Mm-hmm. What as far as like some of the younger fighters and stuff? I mean, who do you see as the guys who are going to be in that realm 2-3 years from now? Are there anyone you see like on some of the smaller shows, or
I see Murillo Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
I see him as a big force. I see Alistair Overeem as a big force. I mean, he's 23 years old. People don't realize it. And the guy from Holland, that means he doesn't have a super lot of people to submissions with. And I think he did a real good job against Chuck. And I think I always considered Chuck as the #1 contender, in the UFC. I thought he was very good. His loss against Couture, I don't take anything away from Couture, because I respect Couture. I wish that I could fight the intensity that he does. It's unbelievable that I could do it right now. But I think also that Chuck was kind of focused on fighting Tito. And then when he suddenly fought Couture, I think that kind of screwed his mind too. And, that could have been a big factor too. So I think Chuck is he's a very dangerous fighter. I think he could take out Vanderlei.
Have you personally had any talks as far as doing any pro wrestling? Because you did a bunch of matches last year, did very well in them, and has anything transpired since that?
No. It's very strange. I made the whole El Guapo song, the entrance song, and like I said, go on my website and download it, because you guys are gonna play it for sure, because it's a really funny song. The intro is really funny, and it's a really catchy tune. We're actually gonna try to sell it to Spain now, where they have the Macarena out. Hey, Macarena. That's a song. And we got the party. We like the party from the Venga Boys. We got all those people now trying to sell this song because it's a catchy tune. So I made that song. I was just about to order some really nice clothes, like El Guapo clothing as a matador to come up with. And then, I just didn't hear anything from them anymore. I don't know what the deal was, but I thought I was growing into it and getting better and better. I started making my own moves, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. I really liked it.
Boss, have you ever been to a K1 Grand Prix final?
Oh yes. I've been lucky that I was fighting in Japan, and I fought a lot of times there, and that K1 is very close to a pancras event, and then I would stay in Japan just to watch it. It's unbelievable.
How would you compare, since you've been in, you've announced at one, you've been as a spectator, a K1 Grand Prix final, a New Japan Tokyo Dome show, and a big Pride show like the show that they just had? I mean, they're three totally different things, but atmosphere-wise, how do you compare them?
You know what? Atmosphere-wise, it's all the same.
Really?
And I think, it's the pro wrestling is out of control. Tokyo Dome is sold out, but so is going to be the next Pride show. In the beginning, they thought K1, it was only K1, and Pride, they kept putting money in it and they attracted the right people. And it's, man, I'm telling you, there's nothing. Every show when we're commentating, you will hear me saying, "Oh, people, at home, I wish you could be here because you cannot believe the amount of energy. Underneath the ring is filled with like boom boxes or whatever. I don't know what it is, but it goes so loud. It's like being at a giant house party with 60,000 people. It's the same as in K1. It's the same energy. People are getting out of control. It's crazy. It's an adrenaline rush. Trust me.
What's the difference, and why do you think that that's been so successful in Japan and it hasn't really been as successful in the United States as far as to that degree?
You mean all three of them?
Pro wrestling I think has been as successful in the United States, but the Pride, there's never been a UFC that's going to do 60,000 people yet at this point, and certainly K1, that's not even in the same league when it comes to the United States.
Yeah, I think K1 is very simple because it's like they don't have an American champion, like a guy who really. We never had a guy going to the half finals or became a champion. I think once the K1, there are pretty much always the same 8 guys fighting in the tournament because they're all very good. I think once you're going to get a guy from America who gets into there and who becomes an American champion, then people get interested. Then suddenly, you see it already with Lennox Lewis. Now he's a champion. The boxing, the interest is getting away. They say, why? Because he's not an American boxer. It's normal. It's like for every country, And in Japan, the difference with Japan is...
Boss, we've got to wrap it up. We're totally out of time.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, boss, thank you very much. We'll see everybody next week.